A reporter stood inside an American auto plant today, surrounded by workers and executives, and asked one of the dumbest questions in recent memory. How does making American vehicles more affordable help American auto workers? That actually happened, and the reaction was immediate because while the press class struggled to understand basic economics, the data is pouring in and it's undeniable. Prices are falling, wages are rising, and the media can't spin it their way. What's at stake here is whether you can trust anything corporate press tells you about the economy. For years, they insisted inflation was transitory. They told you high prices were the new normal. They said you have to accept less. Now the numbers are proving them wrong, and they just can't handle it. Vehicle prices are down. Manufacturing wages are up $1,300 over the past year. Mortgage rates have fallen more than a full percentage point. Monthly mortgage rates payments have dropped from $2,700 to $2,400. That's a $3,000 a year cash in your pocket. Home sales just hit their fastest pace in 3 years. Retail sales are solid across the board. And a reporter asked how lower prices help workers. That's not journalism. That's ideology crashing into reality. Now, this just in from the critical minerals sector. Titanium is now surging to the forefront of defense priorities. It's lightweight, incredibly strong, and essential to military aircraft. An F-35 is up to 40% titanium by weight. With jets deployed near Venezuelan airspace right now, supply security is no longer optional, and SAGA Metals is positioned at the center of the story, drilling in strategic locations as Western nations race to secure resources. Trading as SAGMF in the U.S. and SAGA in Canada, this company is moving fast. You got to see the full briefing linked in the description immediately. Now, the wins keep stacking up. The FCC under Brendan Carr announced wireless cell phone plans are down 7% from Biden-era highs. They killed the Biden plan that would have spiked internet prices for apartment dwellers up 50%. President Trump terminated the cafe standards that were quietly adding thousands to vehicle prices. Secretary Duffy says that alone means at least $1,000 price cut for car buyers. Major companies are offering matching contributions to Trump accounts for employees, and at the Detroit Economic Club, attendees said it plainly they are in better shape financially now than ever before. Making America affordable again, that's the tweet. Keeping it simple there. This is the economic victory lap that is now being set up right now. We're going to dive into it. Fox Business on November retail sales, this was solid, up 3.3% from a year ago.
Along with the PPI, the retail sales numbers came out today. What were the retail sales numbers?
This was solid. It captures how consumers spent our money right around Christmas time. So November retail sales up 3.3% from a year ago. This is where we spent. Clothing sales up 7.5% online. More than 7% strong numbers for beauty, for restaurants, for sales at gas stations. All of these were up except for building materials. Those sales fell, as did furniture. But overall, I'd say heading into the end of last year, the consumer showed some resilience. And there you have it, how we spent our money, where we spent it, all the categories.
So prices are moving. America is just getting restored. The retail numbers are just the surface. The press secretary is about to break down the real estate boom that changes everything, laying out the economic progress under Trump.
President Trump is making America affordable again through his President Trump is making America affordable again through his proven economic formula of powerful tariffs, fair trade deals, massive middle-class tax cuts, energy dominance, and aggressive deregulation. The overwhelmingly positive economic data released this week underscores the significant progress the president has already delivered. Tuesday's CPI report marked the latest confirmation that President Trump has defeated Joe Biden's inflation crisis. Since President Trump took office, core CPI has increased at just a 2.4% annualized rate, substantially lower than the 3.3% annual rate inherited from the Biden administration last January. Importantly, as inflation cools, Americans' wages are rising, giving the American people more purchasing power. And with what is likely going to be a record-breaking tax refund season in the next couple of weeks, the American people will be reaping the rewards of the massive tax cuts that were signed into law by the president. Thanks to President Trump's signing of no tax on tips, overtime, Social Security, boosting the child tax credit, and locking in the 2017 Trump tax cuts, independent estimates project the average American tax filer could expect up to an extra $1,000 bump to their tax refund next year. This is going to be a helpful boost to working families who are making ends meet. On the energy front, the national average price for a gallon of regular gas this week fell to its lowest level in 5 years, thanks to President Trump's drill baby drill agenda. According to Gas Buddy, the average price for regular gas on Monday was below $3 per gallon in 43 states, below $2.75 per gallon in 30 states, and at or below $2.50 per gallon in 17 states. In fact, gas prices were below $2 a gallon at stations in at least 19 states. Don't forget, this was unheard of just a couple of short years ago. Overall, drivers are projected to spend $11 billion less at the gas pump this year than they did last year, resulting in hundreds of dollars in critical savings for the average American family.
So that's it right there from the White House. She's giving us the big picture. Wait until you hear the specific mortgage data that's making home ownership great again.
According to a new report also released this week from the National Association of Realtors, existing home sales in December rose to their fastest pace in 3 years. To further improve housing affordability, President Trump has recently announced and directed Fannie and Freddie to purchase $200 billion worth of mortgage bonds. As a result of these actions, mortgage rates have fallen to their lowest level in years. As of last Friday, rates for the average 30-year mortgage are down more than 1 full percentage point. Because of these significant declines, monthly housing payments are now at their lowest level in 2 years, and we expect this decrease to continue. As someone who was enormously successful in real estate, President Trump understands that owning a home is about more than just having a physical asset. It's about empowering young people to stake their claim in the American dream. It's about giving newlyweds a place to make their own and start a family. It's about promoting the spirit of hard work, determination, and yes, the rugged individualism that has made America the greatest country in the history of the world. President Trump knows America is strongest when it's a nation of owners, not renters, and he is determined to unlock that opportunity for as many Americans as possible. That's why he will outline additional housing initiatives during his major speech in Davos next week, and we look forward to seeing many of you there.
President Trump going to Davos, going to bring America first right to the globalists. The mortgage rate drop is massive, but there's more major savings on everyday items in America. Detroit News, the Trump economic boom is happening. Hold that thought. We got pushback from the press corps, but watch how the administration handles it. This reporter question, the top contender for one of the dumbest reporter questions ever. The media is getting frustrated, but here's the concrete policy changes putting money back in people's pockets. Here is Secretary Duffy.
Well, first off, President Trump has put his whole team in place to make sure we're pushing to have rules and regulations that are going to drive down prices. So you and I have talked about this a little bit, but cafe standards, where the liberals, the Democrats wanted to have a transition to electric vehicles, which are driving up the cost of gas-powered autos, and the American people were paying the price. We are taking that standard, the cafe standard, from almost 60 miles a gallon back down to a reasonable standard of 35 miles a gallon. What that's going to mean is at least $1,000 in a price cut for those who are buying vehicles in America. Not only that, President Trump has been focused on energy prices. Our gas prices are at a 6-year low. So again, it's an all-of-government approach, and that's why we're here together working on these policies, but also making sure the auto workers know that this administration is paying attention.
Vehicle savings are just one piece. Now we get the manufacturing wage increases that are boosting paychecks nationwide. U.S. Trade Ambassador Greer.
I think one thing to keep in mind are what are the trends looking like? And if you look at the inflation numbers from last month, it shows that the price for vehicles went down. So that's exactly the right direction. And the other thing to keep in mind is that wages are going up. And so with the president's trade policies, which are encouraging more production of vehicles right here in Ohio, right here in America, we're also seeing manufacturing wages up by $1,300 over the past year. So with the price of vehicles starting to get in the right trend, going the way down, and the wages going up, that's exactly the type of trends that we want to see to make sure that Americans can buy the cars that they're making.
Even CNN can't ignore the numbers. Homeowners are saving thousands of dollars, and that is just the beginning of the economic story.
Let's just say you're buying a $500,000 home. You're putting 20% down. A year ago, your monthly payments were almost $2,700 for principal and interest. Now they're around $2,400. Now, that might not sound like that much. It's about $260 difference. But over the course of a year, you're talking about $3,000 less in interest. Over the course of a loan, it's over $90,000. So that's huge, right? Wow. That's less money going to the bank, more for everything else in life. Now, all of this comes after the White House has really started to focus more on this issue of housing affordability, right? The president wants to ban large institutional investors from scooping up single-family homes. And significantly, he announced plans to have Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac buy $200 billion of mortgage bonds. And experts are saying that those efforts from the president, they're already helping to drive down mortgage rates, which, of course, is encouraging.
Yeah. All right. CNN, they can't spin it. Individual savings are adding up, but corporations are responding too. The next announcement shows business confidence is soaring. ICI announces Trump account matching contribution. $1,000 matching contribution to its employees on Trump accounts. Yet another employer recognizing the benefits of the landmark program for the next generation of Americans. The private sector's buying in, but on the ground level, we're going to go there where Trump is speaking directly to the workers. Seen on TV in Grand Rapids, President Trump at the Rouge River facility.
President Trump spent part of his day in Michigan. He toured an automotive factory where the Ford F-Series trucks are produced, and he spoke to the Detroit Economic Club.
Political reporter Rick Albin has been monitoring Trump's comments and joins us with more on what he had to say.
Sue and Brian, the president came to Michigan at least partially to talk about the economy. At a factory of one of the biggest industries in the state, the automotive sector, President Trump was at the Rouge River facility with William Clay Ford Jr. and Ford CEO Jim Farley before heading to the Economic Club. While he was at that factory, he talked about what he says is a strong automotive industry, a premise with which Ford seemed to agree.
But they're just saying their business is better than ever. They're doing 24 hours, Jim, now, 6 days a week, and they do expansions, and they're building more plants in the United States because of tariffs. And Jim said, and Bill very strongly confirmed, they've never seen anything like it. In all of the years that they've been in business, they've never seen what's happening now like it. So it's a great honor. But so this plant, you might talk about it. This plant goes 24 hours around the clock. Before it used to go 3 hours around the clock.
No, it will. So we're adding a third shift, and it's going to be running, as the president said, 24 hours, 6 days a week. And that just shows the demand there is for this product, which is the best-selling product, as you all know, in America.
Wow. They show B-roll with Mike Pence. That's horrible. From the boardroom to Main Street, here's what actual Detroit residents are saying about the situation. Attendees of the speech at the Detroit Economic Club.
U.S. auto factories are now seeing more than $70 billion of new investment. Think of that. They were leaving. They were all going. They were going in the opposite direction.
Addressing the Detroit Economic Club in his third visit.
Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And much of that money is coming right here to the car-making capital.
President Donald Trump touting great progress lowering inflation and increasing jobs and global investment. His message including a claim of bringing in $18 trillion from all over the world, driving the stock market higher. This is Ford Motor Company will add 1,200 jobs to the Dearborn truck plant, building the F-150, which Trump visited earlier.
Inflation way, way down, but we inherited terrible growth, and we inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country.
Trump pledging to lower emission standards and eliminate fraud. On tariffs, Trump adding they've helped bring fairness and create partnerships that benefit us all. The president also saying grocery prices and gas prices are falling despite other claims.
It's tariffs that are making money for Michigan, and the entire country is stronger and safer and richer.
Among those in the crowd, I asked Metro Detroiters for their response.
From my own personal experience, I'm in much better shape financially now than I was 4 years ago.
He's going to fight the inflation. He's going to get rid of the corruption. We can bring the gas prices down, help the families that don't own any homes right now. A lot of people looking for homeowners.
Home ownership, man. That's the American dream. President Trump's allowing us to recapture it. Real people, real savings, but this economic transformation goes beyond just housing and wages. Infrastructure changes too. Building high-speed infrastructure across the country, FCC cracking down on illegal robocalls, strengthening national security, eliminating waste and modernizing operation. From robocalls to broadband, the administration is cutting costs across every part of American life. Wireless cell phone plans are down 7% from Biden-era highs due to the opening of the new spectrum. We ended Biden-era plan. We could have spiked from the price of internet services Americans are buying in apartment buildings. So I want to find that clip that didn't load earlier from Don Jr. And this is the reporter question. Here it is.
For American. Do I understand your question correctly? You're asking how does it help the American auto worker when prices come down for American auto cars? Okay. So when the prices come down on American auto cars, more people buy American auto cars. They'll buy more American trucks. So when you buy an American vehicle instead of a foreign vehicle, that means that the American company is making more money, that there is a need for plants to be making more vehicles. The more that people buy American vehicles, the better it is for American companies. The more money they make, the more vehicles that are needed, the more workers they need, the more hours, the more trucks they build. It's a beautiful thing for our country and very obviously strongly helps the American economy, the American auto companies, the American auto workers, when the price comes down and more people are able to buy American vehicles. Do I understand your question correctly? You're asking
yeah, Elsie Zeldin. Donald Trump Jr., this reporter's question is a top contender for one of the dumbest reporter questions ever. But you heard the press secretary laying it out clearly. Existing home sales rose to their fastest pace in 3 years. Mortgage rates are at their lowest level in years. Retail numbers are strong. Manufacturing wages are climbing. The data released this week underscores the progress already delivered. And what does the press do? They ask how affordability helps workers. That question is to tell. They're not confused. They're desperate because the narrative just collapsed. So for years, Americans were told to accept decline. Inflation was permanent. High prices were here to stay. Affordable housing was a fantasy. The experts said so. The media repeated it. Now every single metric is moving in the other direction. Car prices are down, wages are up, mortgage payments are falling, home sales are surging, cell phone plans are cheaper, internet price hikes are killed, and the corporate press responds by asking how lower prices help workers. That's not a serious question. That's a confession. They can't process good news because it destroys the story that they've been selling. The American people see through it now. The data is real, the relief is real, and no amount of spin can change it. So here's my question. Do you trust the mainstream media to report honestly on the economy? Yes or no? Answer in the comments and visit the Next News merch shop, linked in the description.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this. Share this now.